Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your daily briefing on developments surrounding the Iraqi dinar. Today's update is stirring major reactions throughout the investment community. A potential game changer has surfaced. An internal payout level exchange rate is reportedly being observed, and it's not just idle chatter. These figures are creating a stir among analysts, with many sensing this could mark a turning point for the IQD. Could this signal the long-anticipated revaluation of the dinar? Could Iraq be stepping back into its former financial strength on the global stage? Let's explore these unfolding events and break down what they mean for your investment outlook as of the current date in the USA. In recent weeks, enthusiasm among global dinar holders has surged. Increasingly consistent reports indicate that Iraq is realigning its monetary strategy, with adjustments that suggest a possible return to a payout-level valuation, reminiscent of its standing before 2003. Unlike past rumors, this movement is underpinned by hard signals. The dinar has spent years languishing at undervalued levels, sparking endless speculation. But now, for the first time in a long stretch, there is credible forward momentum. Market observers are picking up strong indications that something significant is taking shape. Notably, these revised rates are not simply circulating in fringe forums. They are reportedly undergoing internal trials across key financial networks. It appears Iraq is testing the waters with numbers that echo the pre-war era, where values were estimated between $0.32 and $0.34 per dinar, depending on the year. Since then, due to war and economic decline, the rate had plummeted to a tiny fraction of its former worth. However, according to multiple financial intelligence sources, there is now evidence of internal systems processing much higher rates, hidden from the public eye, but actively tracked by banks and financial insiders. The vibe on the ground has shifted. There's a different energy this time, focused, methodical, and with a sense of deliberate action. Many believe these test rates point to a structured rollout. Iraq's monetary policy in 2025 appears increasingly cohesive, with corruption crackdowns, banking modernization, and oil revenue stabilization all in progress. The foundation for a major monetary transition is now solidly in place. More recently, chatter about a multi-tier exchange system has begun to surface. Some insiders suggest that exclusive rates are being reserved for high-level contract participants, indicating that a staggered revaluation strategy could already be underway. If confirmed, this model would see certain institutional investors gain access to elevated exchange levels before a broader rollout to the general public. This possibility is polarizing, but the underlying message is undeniable. This is no longer just theory, it's actual activity in motion. Investors who've held on to IQD for years, sometimes against ridicule, are suddenly witnessing early signs that their patience might be rewarded. Interestingly, the Iraqi government is no longer dismissing talk of a stronger currency. Terms like international integration, currency strength, and rate equality are now finding their way into official language, phrasing that speaks volumes. One major driving force behind this shift is the implementation of Iraq's white paper economic reforms. These measures were designed to overhaul Iraq's financial structure. They've led to a crackdown on illicit currency trading, improvements in oil revenue management, and changes in debt policy. Foreign investment is climbing, institutional confidence is gradually returning, international organizations are taking notice. The return of payout-level exchange discussions has prompted investors to revisit these reform strategies with fresh enthusiasm. Those once skeptical of Iraq's economic trajectory are now reconsidering, suggesting the country could emerge as a formidable player in the Middle East's financial future. Naturally, regional politics remain a complicating factor. Tensions with Iran and other neighboring countries inject uncertainty into Iraq's otherwise promising financial narrative. Yet some argue that Iraq is pressing forward precisely to distance itself from external instability. In this context, former President Trump's recent remarks about the Middle East gained attention. While not official policy, his statement suggested that notable regional shifts could soon unfold, and Iraq appears to be positioning itself as a central figure in that reshuffling. Iraq's central bank, meanwhile, is racing toward a digital future. The acceleration of digital banking systems, payment technologies, and verification tools signals a commitment to transparency and operational precision. These are not small upgrades. They reflect strategic foresight. Some believe the current rate testing is directly tied to the adoption of these platforms. In short, why would Iraq invest in cutting-edge banking tech if they weren't preparing for a broader, globalized currency agenda? Insiders have mentioned seeing internal rates between $0.26 and $0.24. These figures, not publicly listed, are part of what some call contract previews or payout tiers. If accurate, this could represent a model where initial private groups exchange at premium rates, with public access following later. While this remains speculative, the greater truth persists. The dinar is moving. Momentum is building. Conversations are shifting from fantasy to focused readiness. For everyday investors, the implications are enormous. The possibility of a tiered exchange process has reignited interest and speculation. The internal financial chatter is no longer confined to niche communities. It's drawing global attention. More and more institutions and observers are beginning to include the IQD in serious currency analyses. That alone signals a major shift in perception. It suggests that Iraq is not just preparing to participate in the global economic stage again, it's preparing to lead in certain arenas. At this point, the smartest move for investors is to stay alert, not reactive. Track every bulletin from the Central Bank of Iraq. Follow updates from global financial institutions and keep an eye on news out of the Middle East. The growing global conversation about the dinar is no longer based on empty rumors. It's being built on policy changes, digital transformation, and verifiable economic momentum. And that's what makes this moment different. Not speculative hope, but actionable indicators. Still, it's vital to remain grounded. Currency speculation has always carried risk, and the IQD is no exception. Despite the progress Iraq has made, the road ahead isn't without hurdles. Political changes, oil market volatility, and regional conflict all remain potential disruptions. Even if a new exchange rate emerges, there's no guarantee it will be accessible to everyone immediately. It's likely that institutions or select contract holders could be prioritized in the early phases. That's why financial discipline is key. Only invest what you can afford to risk, diversify where possible, and maintain a long-term vision. The market can shift quickly and without warning, but patience, paired with vigilance, has served many IQD holders well over the years. What's especially noteworthy now is how the conversation is changing, even among those who were once deeply skeptical. Financial influencers, investment analysts, and even some online personalities previously critical of dinar investing are reassessing their views. One known analyst stated bluntly, "Iraq isn't sitting back anymore, they're moving forward." Another said, "We're no longer dealing with the IQD of a decade ago. Iraq has matured, it's focused, it's intentional." These shifts in tone are sending a ripple effect through the dinar community. Investors who had paused their engagement are now returning to the conversation. Telegram channels, online forums, and YouTube live streams are once again full of dialogue. This renewed energy is feeding into something deeper, an evolving belief that this moment might truly be different. The role of the United States cannot be overlooked in any of this. While officials from the U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve aren't making public statements on the IQD, their behind-the-scenes influence has been substantial. Washington has played a quiet but impactful role in supporting Iraq's financial reforms, particularly through its work with the IMF and its collaboration on oil and monetary framework. The strengthening relationship between Iraq and the U.S. is most evident in areas like banking modernization and compliance efforts. If quiet support from American financial institutions continues, it may be the final push Iraq needs to move forward with full confidence. Many analysts agree the technical framework is already complete. Now, all that's missing is the political go-ahead. Looking ahead, a number of scenarios could unfold. Iraq may continue testing internal rates while finalizing infrastructure for a wider rollout. Select investor groups may begin exchanging under contract terms as a test phase. If all pieces fall into place, from IMF compliance to digital system readiness, we could witness Iraq publishing a formal rate and reintroducing the IQD to open trading on the global currency markets. That would mark the first such occurrence in over 2 decades. This isn't a casual possibility, it's a historic opportunity. Each of these steps carries significant implications for Iraq's economy, the global market, and of course, IQD holders around the world. Within digital spaces, the excitement is evident. Every day, thousands of investors speculate about timelines, contract tiers, and policy shifts. Some express cautious optimism, while others hold a more reserved outlook. But the prevailing sense is clear. Something is unfolding. This moment feels like the culmination of years of anticipation. If Iraq pulls this off successfully, it won't just revalue a currency. It could trigger a reshaping of how developing economies transition into global players. That's why it's crucial to navigate this period with both hope and realism. Hype will always be loud, but grounded optimism backed by facts will always be smarter. We've received countless messages from viewers asking, "Is this it? Is the revaluation happening now?" And the most honest answer we can offer is this: we are closer than we've ever been. Iraq's progress is measurable. From digital frameworks to economic reform, political collaboration to global engagement, the evidence is stacking up. But timing still matters. Iraq knows it has only one chance to make this work on a sustainable level. It has to be coordinated, credible, and built to last. That's why so many pieces are being arranged meticulously before any public announcement is made. Another key signal that things are changing comes from the behavior of institutional investors. Major private equity firms and seasoned global financiers don't operate on speculation. They move based on patterns, policy signals, and long-term projections. Right now, many of these players are moving quietly into Iraq, acquiring dinars, investing in energy infrastructure, and establishing local partnerships. These are not casual moves. They're strategic, and they often indicate preparation for an imminent transformation. For everyday investors, this is a signal worth watching. The entry of smart money into the IQD space means the game is evolving. High-level players are placing their bets, and they're doing so before any public confirmation. That alone should underscore the seriousness of what's unfolding. So, to everyone holding dinars, whether you've been in the game for 5 years or 15, the message is simple. Stay alert, stay prepared, and stay informed. Major financial shifts rarely announce themselves with fanfare. They happen quietly, steadily, until one day the change is simply undeniable. Hope is no longer a far-off dream. It's supported by verifiable steps, credible reforms, and a coordinated national effort. That kind of hope is powerful. That kind of hope is what drives the smart investor forward. Thank you for staying with Iraqi Dinar News. Don't forget to subscribe and follow our next update. Stay sharp, stay hopeful, and always stay ready.